In this video, I'm going to talk about how to give advice to new converts that is compassionate and understanding. Converting to Islam, especially at the very beginning, can be a very challenging and isolating time. And new converts to Islam might just feel a bit overwhelmed and stressed out. In this video, I'm going to be sharing a few tips and strategies for giving advice that is very supportive and very empowering. The advice that will help new converts feel welcomed and valued in their new faith. So, without further ado, let's get started.
Salam, I'm Veronika Edali. I'm a revert to Islam, a founder of a modest activewear brand, a content creator, a wife, and a mom. I share my life and business journey as a Muslim woman living in New Zealand. My mission is simple: help Muslim women to embrace modesty and hijab while following their true passion. I create content to boost self-confidence, mindset, and lift your spirit so you can successfully balance faith, career, and motherhood. Subscribe for inspiration, motivation, and lots of laughter, all from a Muslim woman's perspective.
I am myself a revert to Islam, a convert to Islam, whatever works for you. I use the terms interchangeably, but I've been Muslim for almost 10 years now. Alhamdulillah, it was one of the best decisions that I've made. But when I say that converting to Islam was a journey and is a journey, I mean it. It is a journey. It's full of ups and downs, successes and failures. Sometimes you feel amazing and you're learning so much. Other times you encounter a setback and you just question everything, especially when you're doing it on your own. And a lot of the times it's the case for new Muslims. They might be the only Muslim in their family and they're just trying to learn as much as they can, as fast as they can. They try to implement what they learn into their life while navigating potential family conflicts, family drama, trying to explain to their families what is happening while they're still learning and trying to find the right words. And it's overwhelming. It's stressful. It's beautiful and blissful at the same time, just because you finally find the faith that just makes sense to you and changes your life for the better. But it is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And being Muslims that we are, of course, always encouraged to help each other, to support each other, to advise each other. But I'm telling you, there is a way that can be done in a very wrong way and in a very right way. And I've seen both sides. So being a Muslim revert and going through this journey and getting advice from so many Muslims from all over the world, I can definitely say that the advice was given to me in a rude way, or just let's call it the wrong way. It just didn't stick. I didn't hear the person. Even if the intentions were good, the delivery was off, I didn't care what they had to say. On the other hand, I had another group of Muslims who advised me just right. And I heard them, and I did further research, and I've implemented the advice in my life. And alhamdulillah, I'm grateful for that. So why don't I share what I've learned with you Muslim folks? Some of you are born Muslims, some of you are new Muslims, some of you are Muslim reverts who have been around the block, who might find this video relatable. And let's just all share our experiences and learn from one another, so inshallah we can advise one another in the best way possible, so that we all can grow individually as Muslim people and as an ummah altogether. So let's start with the basics. Remember that converting to Islam is a big decision, especially if culturally you were never Muslim, like you're part of Western culture, for example. I grew up in a Russian culture, and converting to Islam was a huge decision. So the most important thing is to remember that when we do approach new Muslims, we always have to approach them with compassion and understanding, which means we have to be patient and non-judgmental, because we certainly don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We see this brand new Muslim revert, and we don't know what's the family situation like, what inspired them to convert to Islam, what they're going through, what their level of knowledge is. Is there something else that's going on behind the scenes that we absolutely have no idea? So, and judging the book by its cover is just never a good way to go anyway. So when we approach new converts, let's just drop all the assumptions, because most likely whatever you assume, you're way off mark. Very, very wrong. So let's put aside judgment and approach with compassion. Tip number 1, be patient and non-judgmental. So it's important to take a moment to pause and give advice only when you asked for it. It means you have to learn to listen. Take your time and listen to what the revert, the new Muslim, has to say about their journey. Try to see things from their perspective that might be very different from your own. Don't make assumptions, don't jump to conclusions, just listen. That way, if you come across as a good listener, then you automatically create a very safe and supportive environment for that new Muslim to ask you questions and express their doubts and concerns if they have any. And when that happens, that's your cue to jump in and answer the questions and point them in the right direction and share your personal opinion and then leave it with them. Always be open, be patient, be non-judgmental, just because everyone's journey is very unique. Unique, that's the key word here. It's just very different from everybody else's. So open up your mind, hear them out, and offer your support afterwards. Let's unpack this further in tip number 2, which is listen to their concerns and questions. And this is what I mean by that. Sometimes, I'd be posting a video and I get a lot of advice, which I have researched and I've formed my own opinion about. People don't know that. People don't know my unique story. And they assume the worst of me. They assume that I am just this brand new, newborn Muslim who needs guidance and support. They might come from a right place, but they just spit out their advice that was never asked for. They didn't approach me with a question. They didn't try to get to know what I know. They just assumed that I don't, and it gave advice for the sake of being right. Maybe their heart was in the right place, but that's how it came across. And automatically I was like, okay, you don't know me. And it's actually very, very silly, because I know what I've been through and I know what I've researched and I know that I've formed an opinion on certain things. And these strangers just come at me and just spit out advice that it's just, the whole situation is very awkward, because you don't want to be rude, but then it's just not good. So let's just listen first and then give advice. It can be very overwhelming when a new Muslim just announces that they are now Muslim and they're very excited about it, and then you just come at them with a list. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, don't do this, you do this wrong, this is wrong, you are wrong, what are you doing, are you crazy? It becomes very overwhelming, especially when you haven't asked for it. So we have to take a moment and pause and listen to what the new Muslim needs help with. They have a concern, they have a question, we'll listen. We share our thoughts, we share our research, we share our knowledge, we point them in the direction of the right resources. And there you go. They had this question that they needed the answer to. We connected them with the answer. It stayed in their mind, and here we go. They've implemented it in their life. But if you give them a list that is so big and so random, where do they even start? So it's important to listen to their questions, to their concerns, connect them with the right resources. Then they implement it in their life and they move on to the next bit and the next bit and the next bit. And this was very prevalent for me on my hijab journey, for example. I just gradually learned and researched and implemented things to better myself as a Muslim hijabi woman. It's a process. And when you just try to process everything and see if you can implement certain things, but then there are 1,000 other instructions flying at you without you even asking for them, it's overwhelming, it's discouraging, and it's not helpful. So let's listen first. Tip number 3, offer advice that is tailored to new Muslims' unique circumstances. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. There are women who become Muslim later in life, and they are already married to a non-Muslim man. And the hard and fast rule is Muslim women are not allowed to marry non-Muslim men. What do we do? What do you do then? People who don't understand that Muslim women's, the reverts, circumstances of how she happened to become Muslim and where she's at, they would just come at her and say, hey, you're married to a non-Muslim man. Haram this, haram that. You got a divorce. When it's just so crazy, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so merciful and understanding, and there is always a solution that is in line with our faith. There's always solution. Nothing is ever black and white. And when you convert to Islam and your partner is non-Muslim and you're already built a marriage, a foundation to your relationship with kids in the mix, for example, you can't just go walk out. It's crazy. And I've researched this with a scholar, and the woman has a couple of options that she can do. But your advice needs to be informed and tailored to the person's unique circumstances. This world is not black and white. We are people. We are complex individuals. So nothing in this life is ever black and white. So rather than you being very emotional and being on your high horse of knowledge that you think you know, you may not know everything. And just coming with your advice that can be very inaccurate for the unique circumstances of the revert, it's going to do only damage. You need to take your time. If you want to help, you need to go and consult with a person of knowledge and connect the revert with that person of knowledge who can advise them properly, rather than jumping to conclusions. And I know women who, because I've recently posted a video about marriage and a lot of women shared their stories. And one of the stories was that the woman converted to Islam, and then her husband, she stayed with him, she waited for him, and 4 years later, he became Muslim. Alhamdulillah. That was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's plan from the beginning. So we have to be very mindful of how we give advice, and it needs to be 100% tailored to the person's circumstances. We just need to be very, very mindful of that. Moving on to the next point. Be respectful of their reasons to convert. We all have different reasons why we choose to convert. We are all introduced to Islam in different ways. Like I said earlier, our spiritual journey is very unique. Some people travel to a Muslim country and they get exposed to Islam that way. Some people meet a person and that's how they're introduced to Islam. Some people, I don't know, try to research Islam because of the negative publicity it gets in the Western media, and then they happen to find out the truth for themselves. So, and we as Muslims have to be respectful and understanding of how the person came to be Muslim, regardless of their past and regardless of what drew them to Islam. They are Muslim now. Alhamdulillah. So we need to be respectful of that. Me being a Muslim revert, I constantly get questions like, did you meet a Muslim man and he refused to marry you because you weren't Muslim, and that's why in order for you to keep your man, you converted to Islam? Like, and it comes from Muslims. Astaghfirullah. Like, how rude and inconsiderate this question is. I make so many videos about it just because it's just 10 years into my journey. It's still a number one question I get asked. Oh, you met a man and then you changed your entire life so that he would keep you. What a crazy narrative. At the end of the day, who cares how you happen to learn about Islam? To find out that Islam is a thing, is a religion, is the fastest growing religion in the world. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had you in mind, and it was his plan to make you Muslim, alhamdulillah. So we as Muslims should never, ever judge people that we don't know anything about and look at what appears to be the reason that they became Muslim and judge them for it. That's just so unfair on our Muslim brothers and sisters. So if you see a Muslim brother or a Muslim sister converting and then soon after getting married, it doesn't mean that they converted for their spouse. Maybe they happen to know their spouse, their now spouse. They happen to know them, and they maybe were a very integral part of their journey. Maybe they introduced them to Islam. Why does it matter? However you came to Islam, you came to the truth. Alhamdulillah. And that's what matters. Who are we to judge other people, especially our own brothers and sisters, for how they come to Islam? What we need to do instead is be grateful, is be encouraging, be supportive, and just be happy for them. Make dua for them. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this transition easy and fulfilling and rewarding for them, inshallah. We need to do our best to make sure that our new Muslim brothers and sisters are welcomed and feel valued and feel respected in the ummah. You know, if we support and uplift each other, wonderful things will happen, inshallah. And we need to be strong as the ummah. And the final tip, please help them learn and explore their faith at their own pace. And the best way to do that is provide them with resources, whether it's books, articles, podcasts, YouTube channels, any other resources, connecting them with knowledgeable Muslims, imams, scholars, just making that initial contact and then leaving it with them. We don't have to micromanage them. We don't have to watch over them and just say, have you implemented this yet? Have you read this yet? What we can do is share the knowledge and leave it up to Muslims to take action on it. Because once again, everyone's journey is unique. Everybody learns at different pace. At the end of the day, you want this journey of becoming Muslim to be enjoyable and rewarding and fulfilling and not stressful and overwhelming. You don't want to feel inadequate when you're trying to learn about Islam. And when you're expected to learn at a certain pace and change your life 180 degrees overnight and you feel all this pressure, you feel stuck. You feel like you might not be good enough, or you're not worthy enough, or you're not doing things right. And do we ever want to pick things up again and carry on our journey of knowledge when we feel awful about ourselves and feel like we're too stupid to comprehend things just because we're feeling too overwhelmed and stressed out and being completely micromanaged by other Muslims in our lives who of course want the best for us, but we just can't keep up. And it's just very, very discouraging. I really hope that you find these tips valuable, and so that we can help our new Muslim brothers and sisters embrace Islam in the most wonderful way. I'm so genuinely happy for my new Muslim brothers and sisters when they become Muslim. I'm really happy for them, and I just want them to feel and experience the beauty of Islam. And I know that how we give advice as Muslims, as people who have been in the faith longer or were born into it, the way we give advice matters, and it can be a core part of the new Reverts journey. So we have to watch ourselves. We have to always conduct ourselves in a respectful and caring manner and make sure that our advice is something that they're looking for, and that it is compassionate, and that it is understanding, and it is something that will actually help them to grow as a Muslim, inshallah. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I really hope you found value in it. If you did, make sure you leave me a thumbs up, comment below and let me know. Share this video with someone who definitely needs to see it. If you have any other tips, of course, leave them in the comments below. We're here to help each other out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below as well. But that's everything from me. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to come and hang out with me. And assalamu alaikum. I'll catch you later.